Today we're going through the best and worst tattoo TikToks I could find. Let's jump into it. Come on, you know the drill. Okay. It says, I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby. That's a song playing. It's a good song. I like the song. Oh my God. Oh my God. No. The Octopus mutton chops, dude. That's too much. That's too much, dude. I can't. Is that what they're called, mutton chops? What a stupid word. Mutton chops, is that what they're called? Oh my God, dude. Mutton chops. That is awful looking. Oh my God. I think it's on purpose. I think this person was like, I want mutton chops. I want octopus mutton chops. Okay, bad tattoo, goofballish, looks awful. Okay, let me just break down my thoughts on the actual thing. It's like, dude, it goes straight to this curve on both sides. It looks awful. It looks awful. You'd have to be so dumb to think that this looks good, because we all know it looks bad. I hope they're happy with their life decisions. I hope it doesn't affect them too much. I hope that this isn't real, because that would also make me extremely excited and happy in my life. I'm about to go on vacation for 2 days. 2 days. I'm gonna think to myself, man, that octopus mutton chops, dude, if I get, a break from that, I'll be happy. On to the next. We got a butterfly, more like a butt fly. No, it's actually a moth. Come on, it's a moth. Butt moth? A booty moth? I don't know. I can't think of anything funny to say about it. It looks like crap. And it's funny because it's right next to her crapper. No, I don't know. It just looks awful. I don't know what I'm looking at. It looks like, the circle in the middle looks like I'm looking at a new butthole. The other ones look like buttholes. Everything looks like buttholes, like the stars and all of it. It's just an awful looking tattoo. Look, very rarely are there tattoos in this area that look good, especially when it's the only tattoo in this area, right? If she had a back piece and she had like multiple butterflies on both cheeks, you'd be like, oh, it looks cool, looks nice. But like, it's just a butterfly moth and it looks like crap. Ugh, God. What life decisions have led to this one? Like, what mistakes did people make in her life that was like, I need a moth on my turd cutter, okay? Nothing, just bad. Bad tatting, bad idea making. This moth doesn't have little whiskey fly things, which is something I'm thinking off the top of my head. It looks like turd coming out of a butt right here, right there, bad. All of it's just crappy. Next.
4 years old, 4 years old. 4 or 5 years old, 4 years old. Do 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 do. 4 years old. No, this is 3, 2.5, 3. This is 4. This is 4.
Am I missing something? I think this guy's trying to flex. I think he's trying to be like, look, this is how good my tattoos look after 5 years. They don't look good. What are we talking about? Those look bad. If I had those tattoos, I'd be bummed. There's no reason to be happy about that. Let me look at the comments, dude. I gotta see the comments on this one. This is bad tattooing. There's no part of those fine line tattoos that look good, and honestly, it's embarrassing if he's trying to flex on you. Those tattoos look so bad. It's crazy that someone's sitting there being like, oh, look how good my tattoos look. Bad, awful, just bad tattooing. The smaller tattoo and the more detailed, the less likely it is to look good. This clearly does not look like good tattooing, and he's trying to tell you that that is good tattooing. So we can tell from this video, fine line tattooing usually doesn't look good. That's what we could take away from this. Because this guy's like, look at how good my tattoos look, all real fine line. And we're looking at it and we're like, I have eyes too. Almost all of those images, I can't tell what they are. And they're 4 or 5 years old. In 10 years, I'm gonna be like, that's a sick looking mole, dude. That's a good looking mole. Hey, that mole, really good looking. That's what they look like. They're stupid bad tattooing, and it doesn't matter how you 4 years old, 5 years old, bad. Next.
This here, the 1950s Moskowitz family stencil.
Dude, you're getting an old school view of what a tattoo stencil process used to be like. Yeah, you know, they'd have this plastic, they'd carve out the plastic, put carbon on it, put some deodorant on the skin, and you had this very light, very easy to wash away or accidentally sneeze off stencil. Very cool. I've gotten a tattoo with this type of stencil called acetates. It's on the back of my leg. I think I got a hand poked into the skin too. Yeah, very cool, very interesting. Keeping the tradition alive, guys. Yay! I like it. Looks nice. Looks very cool. The tattoo, let's get to the back end of the tattoo. Looks very much like that design and how it was supposed to be tattooed. That's where I'll leave that. On to the next. I'm gonna be Mr. Nice Guy.
I recently did this tattoo and it completely fell out. It didn't heal correctly. And this is how it looked before when I first did it. I saturated this piece as best as I could and I tried to pack in all the blacks, put in the lines as best as I could. But sometimes with certain areas on the hand, no matter what you do, they do not heal correctly. Also, it's possible that the client didn't take care of his tattoo correctly, but we don't really know the real reason. But anyways, I had to touch it up. I had to draw it on back a little bit because it was hard to see.
We don't know the real reason, we know the real reason. Come on, dude. Come on. If you're a tattooer and you've tattooed this spot, you know the real reason. That spot almost never looks right, and you kind of got to hammer a tattoo in there. So like if you try and finesse a tattoo into a spot like this, it's not going to look good. We know the reason. It's a bad image for the spot, and like really this like finessing of a tattoo in there is not going to work. You got to blow this thing in there, like hammer that in, and maybe it'll look all right, but like, look at this setup, dude. He's got like 10 different blacks and grays. Like, nah, this tattoo's trying to be finessed when what you really need is a hammer, okay? Like sometimes people try and feather things in, you need a hammer, okay? Just like pound that one in there, okay? That one's not happening here.
And every time I touch up a tattoo that I've done before and a lot of things fall out, or I just need to touch up things, sometimes I kind of have to just freehand it and figure out how it kind of went while still looking at the image. But anyways, this is how it came out looking the second time. I feel like it looks different, but it's just hard to do when you don't have the stencil. You got to kind of freehand everything.
Okay, looking at that tattoo on the second time, he's like, it looks kind of different. And it's like, yeah, you took out like 99% of the detail because one, that was stupid to do on a palm tattoo. He just simplified the crap out of this image, which is what he should have done from the beginning. Look, this tattoo still, even if you simplify it, might not work. That's just part of this game. But you're gonna get a better tattoo if you go simple from the beginning, especially for a placement like this. Yeah, come on. Simple, the better. Simpler, the better. I said that stupid like a dum-dum. Like a stupid dum-dum. But yeah, the simpler, the better for an image like this. On to the next. Just focus, just focus, just focus. Okay, I'm making a face here. I'm making a face here and it's because I'm grossed out. Okay. I get grossed out when I go to the gym and I see someone like flexing in the mirror. Like I get that you put in a lot of work to do these like little things. It bums me out. It makes me feel gross. It doesn't like, I'm not like, oh, look at all that hard work. I'm like, dude, that guy stares in the mirror like way too much for his own good. And then watching someone do this in tattooing makes me extra uncomfortable. I think that there's part of tattooing that I don't understand, and it's the amount of like looking at yourself in the mirror type of stuff, like this really like, ooh, I finally look the way I want to look. You know, I just don't get it. Maybe I'm too far removed from when I was first getting tattooed. As a kid, maybe I did this more when I was like 19, although I don't think I did. It bums me out. I don't know. We're all humans, and I get that. I just don't feel very connected to this, like, oh, I finally look the way I always wanted to look. I don't know. I don't look at myself that much. I don't think to myself like, ooh, I'm finally as cool as I always thought I'd be. I don't know. I don't feel connected to that. It's kind of a weird thing. Maybe you feel very connected to it. You finally see yourself in the mirror the way you want to see yourself. I don't know. I think I'd more just focus on the thing and I go, that's so cool. That looks interesting to me. It's visually appealing. Cool. Now it's on me like, oh yeah, that's rad. I don't go like, let me look at myself in the mirror. I don't know. It just bums me out. And watching this clip, that's all I could think of. Like, there's a moment where he's like, I don't know. Bums me out, dude. Maybe I'm just a judgy dude. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe I have zero tolerance for, I don't know what I have zero tolerance for. Anything these days. Like some creepo tattooing himself and then like looking at himself in the mirror like he just did a bunch of bicep curls. I don't know. Bums me out. On to the next. Okay, so they say they have 30 minutes left on this tattoo. I don't think that in 30 minutes this tattoo is going to look good. I think in 30 minutes, it's gonna look just as bad, you know? It looks like a bad looking neck tattoo. I wish I could save these people. I wish I could crawl, like go back in time and be like, I got you, buddy. You don't have to go through this crappy looking tattoo in a crappy spot. I'm an old man, dude. I'm an old man. I just think to myself, I'm like, what an idiot. What an idiot this young man is. Getting his neck tattooed when he shouldn't be getting his neck tattooed. That neck tattoo looks bad. I hope it looks better than it actually is. But in this period of currently, I'm looking at it, I'm like, no. And no. That's a big old no for me. That looks like crap. You know, maybe it looks all right. It's not going to. I'm sad. I'm sad for this kid. He's got this neck blaster that's gonna look like a, I don't know, a Halloween store costume ad thing. I don't know. A reaper in a cemetery, dude. Of all things in all the world, a grim reaper in a cemetery. That's what I want on my neck. There's like trees that look so stupid on this. Poor guy. Glad it's on my neck. Thank God. If that was my neck, I'd have no neck anymore. Next. Like feeling nice and judgy. I feel it, an energy that's like, ooh, you're judgy. Good, good, I should be today. I'm feeling it.
So the other day my client brought up fine line tattoos and floral. And I just want to make this very clear.
Okay, so over the last, I don't know, 2 years since we started this channel, I'm actually genuinely excited about this one thing, that more and more tattooers are starting to use their mouth and open up and discuss different subjects in and around tattooing. And then also I'm so excited because it makes me listen to how stupid a lot of these people are. I don't remember this one off the top of my head. I don't think he's stupid or anything like that. I just think that it's like kind of a weak take. That's the thing. Now that tattooers are opening their mouths, a lot of times they're either stupid or their takes are just kind of like weak. And you're like, oh, really? That's what you're thinking? Like you've been thinking the same thing for the last 15 years that like that tribal tramp stamps are probably old school and should not be tattooed anymore. Like, really? That's what you're thinking? I don't know. Let's hear this guy's take on fine line.
I brought up fine line tattoos and floral. And I just want to make this very clear. Not every single artist can do fine line tattoos. There is a specific way that these tattoos need to be done, along with the specific needles that are used to do these tattoos. I myself personally specialize in fine line and floral tattoos, which is why 80% of my customers come to me for their tattoos. There's a specific way that these tattoos have to be executed. You can't just use a regular size needle. You have to use a bug pin or smaller. I personally use a 063. That may not make sense to any of y'all, and it might make sense to some. But breaking it down, it's pretty much...
So technically, it's a 0603, okay? There's 3 terms that he used here that like are really not that special. Bug pin just means a really tight type of needle. Then when he said 0603, what he's really saying is that there's the gauge of the needle. Okay, everyone's gonna hear this and be stupid because you guys are stupid. I get it. You don't know exactly what we're talking about. Every needle has a gauge. That means how thick or how thin it is, right? And then in that, we have singles, which is very rarely used, where it's just one needle, or we have like 3s or 5s, 7s, 9s, and then that means like how packed they are. So like there could be a 10-3, which means it's a thin needle packed in together with 3 other needles. A 06 is a really thin needle packed with 3 other really thin needles. So what he just said is like, I use a tight needle in a pack of 3. And that's what the actual needle size that he would tattoo a line work with. Yeah, I guess you could use 03. It's fine. It's a tight needle. It's not that like impressive. or anything like that. It's just like, yeah, that's what fine line tatters use.
Using the thing closest to a single needle. You have to, 1, have a steady hand, 2, understand the depth, and 3, understand how to use this needle because it is very dangerous. So the next time that you go looking for a fine line tattoo, make sure you do your research. Don't just let...
What part of that needle grouping is very dangerous? I don't know. I've used 0603s. They're fine. They're like using a single needle. They're hard to use. They're a pain in the butt, but they're not like a very advanced type of tattoo needle, like so advanced that you need like a degree in stupid crap biology or whatever. Look, in my career, I've worked with well over 30 tattooers. And I don't just mean like guest artists, because if we threw in guest artists, I'd say it would be another 100, something like that. Like I've worked alongside at least 100 different tattooers, and I've worked closely with 30 to 40 different tattooers. Almost all of them could use a very fine setup like that. In fact, I would say, let's say that out of the 100, I would respect and think that about 50 were good to great tattooers. Out of that 50, I would say every single one of them could use a fine line setup and do a very nice fine line tattoo. The other 50 were probably like mediocre or okay tattooers. Yeah, I'd probably say that, like 50-50. But I guess my point is simple. Most of my friends, the 200 plus people who are tattooers, could do a good tattoo. I don't find it that hard to do a fine line. Doesn't matter what bug pin you use. I don't think it's that hard. On to the next. Okay, so we got an ear tattoo, and they're gonna make it blue to a light blue to a lighter blue to a white, essentially. Look, I wish we could see this one healed, because I know that you guys would be bummed. Right now, you're probably thinking to yourself, oh my God, that's so cute. Almost looks like an evil eye. In case you don't know what an evil eye is, it's just like a blue thing with blue things and other things. It's stupid looking. Makes a bad tattoo itself. But yes, if we saw this tattoo healed, I guarantee most of you would be like, I don't want that tattoo. I don't want that at all. Yeah, like ear tattoos almost always look bad, really bad. And this is probably no exception. So you probably don't want it, don't get it. I hope you don't. On to the next.
There's a lot of regret in me being part of something that I felt was a loss to a lot of what we loved prior to TV. Tattooers was freedom. We're free. And all of a sudden, the whole thing that you love so much about being a gypsy and traveling and working fucking abroad for 6 months, coming back, that shit was gone. Everything was gone.
So there is part of this subject that I think is worth talking about. It's definitely something that interests me in tattooing, was this idea of like, you travel, you do this, you go places, you F off here and there, and you just, and you're like a gypsy tatter. And like, I think that was kind of really more popular back 15 years ago, before when I was getting into tattoo. You just know a lot of people who would travel and do stuff like that. And that isn't really around as much these days. There's still a lot of tattooers who are traveling tattooers, especially maybe like 2-3 years ago. Okay, now that I'm like kind of breaking this down, the traveling tattooer, it's always been like this, everyone wants to be that, right? You want to go to Vancouver, and then you want to go to London, and you want to go to Zimbabwe, and you want to just like travel the Netherlands and do all this like travel tattooer stuff. And 15 years ago, it was really common, pretty common. Like it was something people really like tried to achieve. And then it kind of died down. Like I didn't know any traveling tattooers pre-COVID, like from 2015, let's say, to 2020. Didn't know any. And then all of a sudden COVID happens, and post-COVID, it was like everyone became a traveling tattooer again, and it was like, oh, this person who specializes in hand-poke crappy style is gonna be in Berlin, and then they're gonna be in Mexico City, and then they're gonna be in Buenos Aires, and all this different crap, and they're just kind of like these traveling tattooers. And since probably 2023, that's dead, completely dead. I know very few traveling tattooers. Like once the hype died of Instagram and like this like time frame where just a lot of things were popular and popping because people had the money to spend on it, it's just gone. Like it's just not happening the same. And countries are really like hammering down on this idea of a traveling tattooer, which like I kind of get. I wish it wasn't the case. But if you're an American and you know that if you could go to Australia and do 100 tattoos in a month and a half and you're gonna score and make a ton of money and you're gonna just take it back home to America, I understand why as a government, Australian government wouldn't like that. So like that stuff's starting cracking down because of Instagram and these different ways. It's very easy to find tattooers who are doing that type of stuff. And I get it. Like they're cracking down on it. So it's becoming less and less prominent. I know a lot of traveling stories. I know tattooers who used to go to Australia and made so much money in a few weeks, few months, they bought homes, right? I know that story. And then I also know the story of like where tattooers scheduled to tattoo in Australia. Australia is a good example for Americans because like it's a place where you can make a lot more money than you would at home. Where other people from other countries would probably say like, oh, they'd go to America, they'd score, they'd go back to their country. So, you know, Australia is just kind of the place for me where they make a lot of money. But I knew a tattooer who had all their books ready. They were all scheduled up in Australia and they got to Australia. The government was like, nope, we know exactly what you're doing. You're coming here, you're gonna make a bunch of money and you're gonna take it back to your country. And they were like, nope, get your ass back on a plane. You're going back. And they had to send back thousands of dollars worth of deposits because the government was like, nope, can't do that. But yeah, the traveling tattooer, like it was a big part of tattooing and not so much. Now, the tattoo show stuff, do I think that that really ruined traveling tattooing? No, but there is a part of tattooing that after that became so legitimate that people like almost expected to become rich from tattooing. And by rich, I mean like not rich at all, like just kind of like very average, you know? But that's part of it. Yep, on to the next.
I regret every single one of my tattoos, all of them. When I got them, I was like, oh, this isn't something that I'm ever gonna want off me.
That tattoo sucks on her hand. Just for, you know, just gotta say it before I watch any more of this.
This is like a chapter in my life. This is something that I went through. It's a memory, so it's just gonna be there. Tattoos are something that will make you feel uncomfortable and awkward as hell in situations that you never thought you were gonna give a shit about, but really you do, because appearance does help people gauge what kind of person you are, what kind of lifestyle you live, and if they wanna be associated with you or not. It can hinder you in job situations. It can hinder you in business dealings. It can hinder you in your child having friends with other people and their families because they're gonna look at you and think whatever. And you can always say, oh yeah, like I don't care what people think. It's not about them. It's about me. Young people, trust me when I tell you this. You will almost certainly regret all of your tattoos, especially when you become a parent. I promise you're going to regret them. Unless you are in the lifestyle.
Okay, as a tattooed person and as a tattooed person for a very long time, I really don't have any regrets for my tattoos. But I'm going to try and see this from her perspective. Because one, I'm really biased. Tattooing is my whole life. When people think I'm a tattooed person, it really doesn't bother me because I am. And it like is part of every single, you know, they're like, oh, what do you do for work? I'm like, I'm a tattooer. I own tattoo shops. I talk about tattooing on YouTube. Like it's part of who I am as a person, more so than the average person. So I'm gonna try and take it there. I knew girls who were, you know, 18 and they were doing stupid crap on their hands. I knew girls who became moms, working at Starbucks still, nothing wrong with that, just like pointing it out that they became stay-at-home mothers and then they have part-time jobs. Or I knew girls who went more the like crazy route, became lawyers. I know girls who are like somewhere in between that, like part-time jobs or maybe full-time jobs, but also parents and became parents early, whatever. I know a lot of women who did that type of stuff. And all of them have tattoos. Yeah, the group of girls I'm thinking of, a lot of them have tattoos. Not so many on their hands, but I could see how those tattoos would affect their family lives, their professional lives. And so I'm gonna be like, yeah, maybe she's right. Like if you're a young woman getting tattooed, maybe be cautious about it. Maybe it's gonna have a much longer lasting effect than you want. Is this true for most men? I don't know. I'm gonna just keep it focused on the women. You know, there's a guy who was like, oh, tattoos are a net zero for people. And I'm like, not if you're an ugly dude. If you're an ugly dude or even a normal looking dude, tattoos are probably an asset. I probably got prettier looking chicks because of my tattoos, just straight up. So yeah, if you're a young dude, get tattooed. Get a lot of tattoos. and get cool tattoos. But if you're a woman, maybe be cautious. Maybe it has an effect, and maybe that's a sad thing to say, but also, maybe it's true. I don't even know.
I hear tattooers say this all the time. They're like, oh, I could never make those like corny, cringy little TikTok videos. But they're also like, most of the time they're like the slowest people right now. And it's like, why is that corny or cringy to like get my name out there to like a more broad audience of people all around and try to do tattoos for people who want to get tattooed by me, but it's different than what it would be on Instagram? That doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, I don't understand that.
I will never understand when people go on the internet and they're like, oh, people think this because of this. And I'm like, bro, that was a super dumb way of saying that. I'm sorry, I apologize. Look, what he's doing on the internet, being a tattooer, talking about tattoos, is cringy in some ways. Like, maybe the TikTok formula is extremely cringy. Like, look, me coming up and being like, how I dressed for my tattoo appointments today, and then I show you a bunch of tattoos, and I'm like, it's kind of cringy, dude. It's embarrassing. There's no part of this that isn't embarrassing. How I dressed for my appointment, it's embarrassing. It's goofballish. It's dumb looking. It's embarrassing, my guys. But what do you care more about? Like, personally, I'd rather come in front of a camera and be like, look, this is how I feel about things. You might think I'm stupid, you might think whatever, but honestly, I don't care in comparison to the positives. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh my God, these people, they disagree with my strong opinions. Oh, how possibly can they think that? Sometimes I'm just kind of blown away by how people function. I'm like, dude, you go on the internet, you're trying to find attention, and then when you get attention that is somewhat negative, you're like, I will not understand it. It's like, dude, you were using the internet to get attention. You got the attention. Good for you. Care more about the result rather than like what the tattooers think about you. You're dumb. Stupid. Stupid. And it's cringy. Like, as a guy who probably does cringy crap on the internet, it's cringy. Let me go look up one of his things. Chuck D. Whitaker. That's an American name, dude. Good for you. That ain't no Kirk Fagan. That's Chuck D. Whitaker. I knew it, dude. All these tattooed TikTok people are the same. And then it says, here's a tattoo I did for $200. And then flash, flash, flash. Stupid tattoo, and I looked stupid as hell. Okay? Like, dude, I don't understand how people think I'm cringy when I'm doing cringy things. I don't know, bro. I don't understand it. Stupid. Stupid. Next. When Teddy Swims shows his Jesus basketball tattoo. So it's a Jesus playing basketball with the devil, but I don't see no basketball. And what I do see is a devil that's belt level with a Jesus, and it does not look good. It looks like Jesus is performing, it looks like the devil is performing an act on Jizzle. Not a good move. In fact, quite the bad move. On to the next.
There are some things I don't do as a queer traditional tattooer.
Okay, they started using music. I'm not sure if I could use the music, but I'm gonna paraphrase what she's saying. She's saying that people have often had opinions about spider webs, and because of those opinions, I'm not gonna do those tattoos on you. She's saying that they could potentially be racist, the people who get these. I've never heard that. Let me chat GPT, because chat GPT knows everything. Let's hear it. Are spider webs on the elbow racist? So stupid. ChatGPT is like, stop being an idiot, Kirk. Okay, so it could have a variety of meanings, symbolizing of hard work or prison time, outlaw gang relationships, just a cool design. Okay, to be honest, I'm gonna cut to the chase here. I've worked with extremely racist people coming in the shop often. That's just facts. I've worked in tattoo shops for 15 years. I've known a lot of crappy people. I've known a lot of cool people. Just fun facts. I have never heard a scenario where someone took spiderwebs really as seriously as other people take them. Like, I don't think that anybody I know from any side of any world, whether they were in like Chicano gangs or black gangs or white supremacy guys. I don't know a world where any of them would take a tattoo like spider webs seriously, you know? I don't know where the spider web like thing comes from. Like, symbolizes prison time. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it does. I don't think it symbolizes anything. I think it's just a cool design. The people have been getting tattooed on them forever, and people have added some stupid symbol idea. It's not like, look, there's certain images that you get and people know what you're about. I don't think it's the spider web, okay? And like, for someone to have such a strong opinion about spider webs that they're going on a 2-minute monologue about why it's racist, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And honestly, you could make the argument that like tattoos as a whole has this really negative connotation, so that maybe you shouldn't get tattoos or tattooed people because you don't want to be responsible for that at all. Next.
You as a client shouldn't have to apologize to your tattoo artist after you ask them to move a stencil a couple of times. If they get angry at you after you've asked them to move a stencil, they're honestly not taking their job very seriously, and they're not considering the fact that this is a permanent body modification that will be on you forever. So you're allowed to be picky in the moment and ask as many questions as you want. If you have moved the stencil a couple of times, it should lead to dialogue.
Okay, we got the point. Yeah, tattooers who get upset about moving the stencil are dumb, and they're kind of rare. I don't think I've ever been in an experience where I was like, oh, this tattooer is like really getting uppity about moving the stencil a bunch of times. Now, having said that, I think people really struggle being assertive in any way. Like, I'll tattoo someone, I'll be putting a stencil on them, and they're like, I'm so sorry. Can we move the stencil? And I'm like, hey dude, no problem. We can do this as many times as you want. This is my reaction. I'm like, yeah, no problem. Like, whatever you want to move it, let's move it as many times as you want. That's genuine. That's my tattoo face. Like, whatever you want, however many times. I got you. I just want you to be really happy with your tattoo. So let's move it as many times. And then they go, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, dude, no, I'm super cool with it. Like, whatever you want. And they're like, oh, it's just, it's permanent and I have to move it. And I'm like, dude, I got you. However many times, and they're like, I'm just so sorry. And I'm like, dude, now I'm fucking annoyed, because I was not annoyed about having to move the stencil, but now I'm annoyed that you think I'm a dick about moving this. I'm like, it's changed. It is funny. Like, this kind of happens a fair amount where you're like, dude, I don't care about moving the stencil. And then they make it such a big deal to ask for what they want that it becomes like, okay, now I'm annoyed. Like, I'm annoyed that this is taking so much time to like explain to you that I do not care about moving the stencil. I want the stencil to be perfect. And then I'm like, dude, you need to work on asking for what you want. Like, if you need some practice here. So, you know, I don't know what that has to do with anything, but you at home need some practice asking what you want. And you know what I want? I want some chips. I'm gonna go get some chips. But I also want you to like and subscribe and do all the things. I don't know, I don't care. Adios. Tattoos I did for $4. Cringy, dude, so cringy.